Hey kids, Grandpa here. Driving down the Parks Highway once again here in Alaska. It gives me opportunity to think a little bit, and thought I'd do a quick video and share some thoughts with you, if you will. Who are we? Okay, stupid question. I'm sure a lot of you guys just clicked and went to some of the video as soon as I said that, but in the reality, who are we? I guess that's kind of why I'm doing my channel. I have oftentimes wondered what my grandparents were like. For that matter, what my parents were like when they were younger, or what their dreams were. I was a late baby. I was born late for my parents. I have two older sisters that are 10 and 12, actually 12 and 14 years older than me. My oldest sister Linda, I think, just turned 70 years, getting pretty close to that. So I was a late in life child, and so I never really took the time. I never thought about it myself because, of course, like most teenage boys, I was self-centered, and I never really thought much to find out who my parents were. Recently, I was watching the movie Amistad, one of the great movies that we've had recently. And in the movie Amistad, it's about a slave ship that was accidentally brought along the U.S. coast. They claimed a lot of different legal maneuverings with it anyhow, but in part of that, John Quincy Adams was quoted as saying, who we are is who we were. And so I wonder about that. What was my grandfather like? Now, my mother's father and his wife, my mother's mother, my mother's father, they didn't care much for us grandkids. We made too much noise and were too active, and I never really had an opportunity to talk to them very much. They didn't talk to kids back then. And my father's father died before I was born, and his mother died when I was very young. So I don't really have any recollection of them. But I often wonder to myself, who were they? What were they like? What kind of music did they like? Or did they even like music? Were they elegant? Were they mean? Were they aggressive? Were they intelligent? Were they stupid? What were they like? And what did they like? What were their likes? What was their passions? What were they interested in? What was important to them? And I don't know the answer to those questions. And so it's hard for me to know who I am without knowing who I was. And I guess that's kind of the biggest thing that I'm really pulling out of my sort of self-imposed isolation up here in Alaska. I've been stuck up here in this cabin in a remote part of Alaska now since December of 2015. So year and a quarter now, year and a half, and going through a divorce and what have you. But it's really put me in a position to do a lot of soul searching, especially going through the divorce process and learning a lot about who I am and what's important to me and what's important in life. And so I've been trying to define the question of who I am, and I don't know the answer to who I was. I knew my mother and father. I have a pretty good feel for what they were like, but what were their parents like? I don't know. And really, I would love the opportunity to sit down today and talk with my mom and dad and get a better feeling for their dreams and desires, their passions, their thoughts. Like all of us, they had interests that I'm sure they never developed or never were able to kind of follow. And this plays a very big role in why I'm doing my YouTube channel. My grandkids, great-grandkids, great-great-grandkids will have the opportunity of watching these videos that I'm producing and get a pretty good feel of who I am and who I was. And maybe that'll help them in their life trying to figure out who they are and what their jobs, roles, responsibilities should be. So, and I implore you, I ask everybody out there that watches these videos, you know, don't be afraid to get on YouTube and post some videos about who you are and talk about what's important to you and where your life's going and what your problems, what your joys, what your sadnesses and your loves are. You know, talk about those things and share them. If for no other reason, then at some time down the road, your kids will be able to see them. You know, we live in such a incredible time today with technology being what it is. I mean, I'm literally driving down the road talking to my cell phone right now. I'm recording this with my iPhone 7, and you know, this is awesome. I've got a really good picture quality, really good recording capability. So the technology is out there today for us to be able to facilitate doing this, so that when our grandkids ask and start wondering about who they are, they'll have an opportunity to go back and see who they were. And I guess that's kind of why I'm doing my YouTube channel. At least that was sort of my initial impetus for doing it. Now it's evolving and moving on to bigger and better things, but that was my original idea for starting it. So I don't know how many of you guys think of those things, but I really wish I had the opportunity to talk to my grandparents. My father's father, I understand he was a real character, according to my older sister Linda. I would love to know more about him and what his thoughts and dreams and thoughts, you know, just what he wanted out of life. It would be great to know that. I will say something interesting that just recently happened. My sister Linda did one of those Ancestry.com searches, you know, where she paid a fee and they did a DNA swab for her and were able to come back and give her some specifics as to the family background. Apparently she contacted me and wants them to send a swab to me to do it. My other sister too, Terry, wants me to do that. Apparently they'll learn more coming from the male of the family than a female in the family. Seems to me my sister should have the exact same DNA that I would have, but apparently there's some nuance, some difference. So they're going to send me a swab for me to do one. But I did find it interesting looking at the report that Linda got about where we were from. I thought we were all Scotch, Irish, English. That was my understanding of our family background. Now I find out we have a little Eastern European and some Norwegian, Swedish in the background, which I was not aware of. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see you know, where our family came from, the origins of our genetics anyway. So it'll be interesting. I guess they're sending me the swab. She texted me this morning. They're sending me a kit for me to send in, and that'll give more information apparently. So we'll see how all that shakes loose. But yeah, I wanted to answer the question as to who I am. I needed to know who I was, and I just wish I had better resources to draw upon. I wish I had the ability to know more about my grandparents and my great-grandparents and my great-great-grandparents, not just a picture and a name, or maybe somewhere where they sign their name or something at some point, but to know more of the details about their lives, their desires, their inspirations, that sort of thing. So anyhow, that's why I'm doing my channel. I just wanted to pose that statement to you guys today as to what's going on here and why I'm kind of doing this, and reach out to you and let you know, hey, don't be afraid to get on YouTube here and put up a video. It's not hard to figure out. Contact me. I'll walk you through the process if you need help. But share your information if for no other reason, so that your grandkids can follow at some point, someplace down the line, and know a little bit more about who you were. You never know how useful that information could be to somebody at some point. Aside from like the medical history kind of stuff, but just from the the socio aspects of knowing who we are. So anyhow, there'll be more stuff later. Some exciting stuff coming up, actually. Live stream tomorrow, Sunday. I'm going to try to have some good stuff together for that, and we will catch you later. Please do like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.